Heat waves caused by climate change resulted in mass bleaching, which killed significant corals in the Great Barrier Reef.
In the past few years that they are dying. Intensive oil exploitation and effluent discharge from agricultural land and human settlements have taken their toll.
Hi, welcome to another episode with me, Andreas. The coral reef is an underwater ecosystem that consists of colonies of reef-building corals held together by calcium carbonate. Most coral reefs are younger than 10,000 years old, but 50% of the world's reef have died in the last 30 years. It is predicted that within the next century, 90% of the reefs may die. In this episode, I will discuss what is going on with the coral reefs and how to solve it. Let's begin. Coral reefs are considered as the rainforest of the sea because it hosts at least 25% of all marine species that ranges from fishes to sponges. Corals have a symbiotic effect with algae where it gets a protected environment and compounds necessary for photosynthesis. In return, algae produces oxygen and help the corals remove waste. Now, coral bleaching is a phenomenon where algae on the corals do not have suitable water conditions to live in, and therefore leaving the corals to turn white. Their deaths are linked with human-related activities such as overfishing, surface runoff, rising temperatures, and ocean acidification.
We are standing in our own way. We are paying huge sums of money, public money, to keep damaging and destructive fishing activities afloat. Government subsidies are keeping fishing boats fishing, even when there are too few fish left for fishing to be profitable.
Fishing is a crucial source of food and income in some coastal communities, but unsustainable fishing like spearfishing and blast fishing can lead to extinction of key species. Coral reefs serve as nurseries for many fish, so by catching young fish in nets, it removes them from the ecosystem before they can replenish the population. Loss of species like small fishes can lead to overgrowing of algae that increases microbes that depletes oxygen for the corals.
Well, I guess erosion is an issue in the Great Barrier Reef in general because we get a lot of fine sediment coming down through floods and that smothers corals and it reduces the amount of light actually getting onto the seabed.
Increased sediment runoffs reduces the clarity of coastal waters and restricts the growth of light-dependent plants and animals. It also increases the turbidity of the water, thus reducing light availability for corals to photosynthesize. An increase in nutrient inputs will stimulate algal growths on reefs, which increases the occurrence of coral disease and further limits photosynthesis for the corals. A warming ocean from climate change will cause thermal stress that accelerates coral bleaching and disease. Sea level rise will only increase surface runoffs, especially for reefs located near land. As tide comes in, it will drag out more nutrient than ever before, thus increasing nutrient in water. Increased carbon dioxide in the atmosphere from fossil fuel burning and other carbon-emitting activities can be problematic for coral reefs. As the ocean absorbs excess carbon dioxide, it results in acidic ocean waters. Acidic waters slow down the rate at which coral reefs generate limestone for the growth of coral skeletons. So what can be done about all these problems? Corals can recover naturally within 9 to 12 years if there are no other disturbances. But realistically, that's not going to happen. With continuous man-made activities and recurring typhoons like El Niño, the ideal plan is to grow corals in a controlled environment inland. Coral fragmentation can be implemented in the restoration site within 6 to 9 months. Afterwards, the development of the corals will have to be monitored for 5 to 10 years to ensure that the project site is not harmed and species start to return. Previous hazardous activities should be limited and stopped gradually to reduce the impact on the local economy and indigenous population. Make sustainable seafood choices and take what you need. Catch and release fish that you don't plan to eat. Lands near reef should be restricted and labeled as protected to reduce human interactions and surface runoffs. Reduce the usage of chemicals for inland enhancement or dumping of household chemicals in storm drains. Lastly, a long-term reduction in carbon emission should be executed to reduce ocean acidification from large carbon intake. I hope you understand the impacts of our everyday activities. Coral reefs are home to millions of species, and their extinctions could change the whole marine ecosystem. All because we cannot live sustainably. Even if you do not live near shores, your daily routines are contributing to the destructions of the environment. Let's live sustainably and make the environment a better place for all. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.